Welcome to the Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network. Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome, everybody, to the Sahlen's Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by the Believe Sports Network. My name is Joe Miller, and you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. Sitting along my co-host, the title name of this show, John Fina himself, former left tackle for the Buffalo Bills, the greatest left tackle in Bills history, I'm proud to say. You can find him on Twitter at John Fina. It is so good to have every single one of you guys join us. Welcome to everybody that is in the comments section. Week 2 for the official 2025 season for the Off Tackle with Sahlen's Off Tackle with John Fina show as we're getting back into the swing of the season. Please do us a favor. Please like. Please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this production on. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't be afraid to comment, leave a comment. Don't be afraid to leave a review, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Get John's numbers up. Tell everybody how great he is, how handsome he is. All that stuff. John.
Man,
Fina.
I'm doing good. Yeah, I thought, Joe, you were going to say greatest left tackle in Buffalo Bills history from Tucson, Arizona. I thought that was coming. Because the only other one really was Glenn Parker. He played a little left tackle, but I have a little seniority and time over him.
You got to get some more miles, if you will, some more miles. But it's hot out there, John. Training camp reporting day, I believe, is next week. What do we got? Our first Buffalo Bills preseason game in about 3 weeks. Things are ramping up. We are not wishing our summer away. However, John, it is hot dog season.
It is absolutely hot dog season. And thanks for everybody listening and joining live right now. It's the Sahlen's Off Tackle show with John Fina. And just so you know, we are proud to represent Sahlen's, and Sahlen's is proud to be a part of the Overreaction Buffalo team. Get this, Joe. Made in Buffalo, New York for over 150 years, Sahlen's is proud to make the best quality hot dogs and deli meats enjoyed for 5 generations.
Wow.
Now is the time of year to savor every second of summer with Sahlen's hot dogs. And guess what, Joe? Look at the bottom of the screen. Shipping nationwide at Sahlen.com. Don't wish your summer away. It's hot dog season. Everybody get out, fire up the grill, load up the grilled onions, the sauerkraut, Chicago dog style, chili dog style. Make it with a Sahlen's and you'll make it as best as it can be.
Tracy says they sell them at Publix in Florida and North Carolina. Here's the thing. We live in a world in 2025 where there is no reason, if you are a Buffalo native or have been to Buffalo and you love Sahlen's, that you shouldn't be eating those other brands. Sahlen's is where it's at, and you can have them shipped to you wherever you are. But so super proud to be representing Sahlen's.
Or as Tracy does, just goes to her local grocery store, because I think they have over 13,000 retail locations now.
Yeah, maybe you just need to ask, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it just comes down to asking or checking. Maybe you've got a favorite grocery store. You need to go to the other one that's down the street and see if they've got them. But super proud of you. Oh,
being Italian as I am, I just go threaten my butcher and be like, hey, you want to sleep with the fishes? Bring in the Sahlen's. Not endorsed by Sahlen's.
Jeez Louise. Well, that was a short sponsorship. so good. On this episode of the Sahlen's Off Tackle with John Fina show, we're going to be talking about Elijah Moore. We're going to be getting into Elijah Moore. We got into him a little bit during the offseason when the Bills first picked him up. We haven't really done a lot of breakdown on him because you just don't know. There hasn't been a lot there. Last year, or last week, I should say, we talked about Keon Coleman. You did some film breakdown. It was super, super great. And obviously expectations for Keon are through the roof. And I feel like some of those expectations are there for Elijah Moore as well. As we know, the Buffalo Bills have jettisoned Amari Cooper and Mac Hollins, and they've brought in Elijah Moore and Joshua Palmer to kind of fill those roles as far as fill those spots. And real quick, as we talk about Elijah Moore, I just want to give you some information, you and the fans there, John Fina. So Elijah Moore went to Ole Miss. He was there for 3 years, 18, 19, and 20. 12 games, and 8 games in his senior year. He had 86 receptions for 1,193 yards with 8 touchdowns in his senior year on just 8 games. He was drafted by the New York Jets, 34th overall, so the second pick in the second round of the draft. And then in the NFL, his pro stats: 2 years with the Jets, 2 years with the Browns. We all know the story. Wasn't happy in New York, asked to be traded. They shipped him off to I don't know why that just happened. They shipped him off to New York. Oh, we lost John Fina. That's why that just happened. So not sure if John. Oh, he's coming back right now. Where was I at? So they shipped him off to Cleveland, to not the greatest story or situation as far as that goes. 43 receptions for the first year with the Jets, 37 receptions, second year with the Jets, 59 and 61 with the Browns. What do we got? 500 targets or 500 yards, 400 yards, 600 yards, 500 yards. Not great stats. However, we'll talk about this as I kind of lead you into just this conversation. Anthony Marino, friend of the network, Anthony Marino, who writes for Buffalo Rumblings and used to do the Breaking Buffalo Rumblings podcast on Buffalo Rumblings when we were back there, did an article on Elijah Moore and just some of the expectations that the Mafia has, high expectations for Elijah Moore. He put out a tweet this week: question for Bills fans on expectations for Elijah Moore. In 2024, he finished the season with 61 catches for 538 yards. What are your expectations for his statistical performance compared to 2024 in the upcoming season? Feel free to elaborate in the replies. 59% of Bills fans who voted, of the 662 votes, believe that he's going to have a better statistical season this year in an everybody eats kind of offense with Khalil Shakir, with Keon Coleman, with an ascending a rejuvenated Curtis Samuel, and then you've got Joshua Palmer. John, are our expectations a little bit too? I think I voted better in this poll. Like, are we getting ahead of ourselves on this one?
Well, it's as if everyone was reading my mind. You know, Joe Marino did his top 10 most impactful players of the year for the Bills, and myself and you and 16 or 20 other people had to stack rank who they thought were really big impact players. And I think I was only one of two that picked Elijah Moore. And there are a number of reasons that I did that. I don't know that he eclipses last year's 61 catches with Moore. That's really not my expectation for him. But where I sit is I think he's going to be kind of a clutch guy in the event of injury. I think he'll be a situational player depending on the defenses that we play. And I think what the Bills see in him is somebody who's very sure-handed, who is a pretty good route runner, but he does a lot of really terrific stuff. And I'll show you that in some of our video review. But I don't think he's going to be the top three guy on the field, right? I think you're going to see Palmer, Coleman, Curtis Samuel, or Khalil Shakir. Those 3 and 4 guys will probably be on the field more often, but he's going to be a fresh leg guy, sure-handed guy, and a good route runner who's going to come up clutch in those moments. And when I look at it, I don't need him, Joe, to come out with 75 catches this year. Right. For me, it's about when are you in the game and how much do you believe in the route that you're running and making that sure-handed grab. The difference between 1 or 2 yards, getting that first down is incredible in this business. And as much as we like to say, go for it on 4th and 1 or 4th and a half, that cuts both ways. And I'd rather just have a guy who's going to eke out an extra yard or two and make the catch at the pylon.
Yeah. So when you got booted out of the show, all your videos got wiped. So you're gonna have to pull them up one by one as you want to do them. You can throw the first one in there right now, which is fine, as I kind of just dialogue a little bit just through some of these expectations. I feel like, when we're talking about Elijah Moore and how he's going to fit, there's an expectation, in my opinion, that everybody feels like he's going to be like the not number 3 guy, number 4 guy. Like you're going to have Keon Coleman, you're going to have obviously Khalil Shakir, you're going to have all these other guys that are in front of him, to include Josh Palmer. And I don't know where that argument comes from. I don't know statistically. I don't know from what we've seen. Last year Joshua Palmer was with the Chargers in a situation where there was nobody in front of him. Ladd McConkey comes in as a rookie, and Joshua Palmer can't even necessarily beat out Ladd McConkey for kind of targets and like to kind of get an increased workload, if you will, which was, to me a little bit bizarre. But there's this feeling that Elijah Moore's down on the depth chart. And I don't know that I buy into that. What are your thoughts as far as where he's slotted when you look at, obviously Khalil's going to be number one, Keon you expect to be number two, and then from there Curtis Samuel, and then you've got Joshua Palmer and Elijah Moore at four. Which one of those guys is four in your opinion?
Well, here's the difference. When I look across the group, I think that Palmer and Moore have different skill sets. So having reviewed the film mostly from Denver, they used him in a very limited format as far as depth of route running. Right. But Palmer is going to be a more vertical guy. So while they will be competing with each other, I almost feel like it's Palmer and Samuel competing for that particular role. I see a little bit more akin to Khalil Shakir, sort of that mid-depth route runner. And I don't see that he beats out Khalil Shakir.
No.
I don't think anybody does. But I understand where you're going. Now, I also look at him as a guy who hasn't really been utilized to the best of his ability. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got Jerry Jeudy in Cleveland. They throw the ball to Njoku a lot. So he was the third pass catcher on that team last year. And then the next one after that was a tight end. And then Tillman started coming on later in the season, and they were feeding the ball to him a little bit. So I honestly feel like with Elijah Moore, we have somebody who's just drooling, like champing at the bit, ready to go, ready, 2 years at the Jets, 2 years with Cleveland, both franchises are just, I mean, I'm laughing because they represent so laughably for the past decade or two, right? Just can't get out of their own way, shoot themselves in the foot kind of stuff. You look at somebody like Joe Brady and Josh Allen, their creativity, the resourcefulness of that offense, and then you add a skill set and a hunger that Moore has, and I think you're going to really find that he's going to blossom in this offense.
Yeah, so when you look back at last year and you look at the stats for the wide receivers that were rostered by the Buffalo Bills, Khalil Shakir led the way, 76 receptions for 821 yards and 4 touchdowns, had a receiving average of 10.8 yards per catch, 54 per game. And then second was Dalton Kincaid, who is dealing with a PCL, right? So there's an expectation that he's going to come back healthy this year, that everything's going to be kind of like honky-dory for him. But he had 44 receptions, which is hard to believe. It felt like he wasn't at like that productive. James Cook, 32 receptions for 258 yards. Mac Hollins was actually number 4 with 31 receptions for 378 yards. Curtis Samuel, who was also injured, had the turf toe for a lot of the season. 31 receptions for 253 yards. Keon Coleman, 29 receptions, injured for 556 yards, and didn't come back from that injury. Probably is, I think we've heard from Coach, the way that Coach would have liked to have seen him kind of return from that injury. And then Dawson Knox, 22 receptions for 311 yards. And then Amari Cooper, 20 receptions, who was also injured, came in late to the season and then injured for 297 yards. Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, all with a smattering of catches, 18-17, Quentin Morris with 5. There's an opportunity. This is literally a poster child. Like, this is the greatest advertisement you can have for that moniker of everybody eats.
Like it took you like 5 minutes to get through that list.
Right. It's crazy.
It's so long. And in some ways it's extremely impressive, right? Because we're the AFC Championship runner up.
Right.
And you don't have a number one receiver. You're spreading the ball around. Really, I think the biggest impact on this season in that room was Dalton Kincaid's injury and Keon's injury secondarily sort of slowing him down. Now, we all know what Mac Hollins brought, fight, attitude, resourcefulness, but really not a guy who's going to blow the top off of defenses, but just a smart football player. I think we add that twice over with Palmer and Moore. With a healthy Dalton Kincaid, if you consider Njoku 64 catches for Cleveland last year, and you said Dalton had 42 or 44. I mean, can you imagine if he gets another 10 catches and an average of 10 yards per catch or 12? It really puts us into a position where we can stretch defenses. Look, I'm no offensive coordinator, but I like the matchup of Dalton Kincaid against any linebacker in the NFL.
Agreed.
And if we can get defenses to step up and cover curls and out routes and get Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, for that matter, on seam routes, down the post or just outside the hash mark, I mean, I think that bodes really well. You imagine Dalton Kincaid running just outside the hash mark with the routes underneath, and even if it's a safety covering, they're coming from the middle of the field.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into some of your breakdowns as far as your film goes, and you can show us through film what you and our expectations should look like kind of going into this season.
Yeah, listen, people talk a lot about, separation, breakaway speed. But I think Elijah Moore really brings a quality of just knowledge and savvy. So most of these plays, you're not going to go, oh my God, what a acrobatic catch, or what an incredible burst of speed where he went by a guy. Most of these highlights are going to be, here's Elijah Moore understanding what the defense is getting, sitting down in the right spot and doing the proper thing.
I think that's what I want to know. I know he's quick. I know he's talented. Yeah. I know he's got quick burst. I know he's got good hands. Does he understand defenses and what his role is going to be on this offense?
Right, exactly. So the first clip I have is nothing exciting, right? He's at the top of your screen. He's the outside receiver. He's going to just run
in that little bunch formation.
That little bunch formation at the top at about the 6-yard line. The inside slot is going to stumble and fall. Slows Elijah Moore down a little bit, but he's going to come across the screen. And what he does here is he first of all, he meshes properly with the seam route, so there's no collision there, right? That's on him. That's not going to be on the guy going vertical. So he makes a good decision there. And now as he's coming across, he's got another crosser in front of him. He's peeking back at the quarterback. He recognizes that he has space here. He needs to do two things. He needs to look out for the defender on the 20, but he also doesn't want to outrun the quarterback and make this a really, really shallow throw. So he just slows his route down a little bit, makes the catch at the 10. Nothing big, but he made an easy throw for the quarterback, and he turns upfield, gets what he can. Nobody's going crazy over this highlight, but it shows the amount of savvy that's important in the role.
Wait, can we go back to that? Can we go back to that real quick?
You can do anything you want, Joe. It's almost your show. It's the Sahlen's off tackle show with John Fina and partially Joe Miller.
Right here.
Are you controlling it?
I'm trying to, but it won't let me. So I think you have to. So stop it at where he had his break. So right here, there's like 5 open receivers on this play. Like, what were the Bengals doing? 4, 1 at the top. The 2 crossers are wide open on this play, and then there's a dude open over the middle too in the intermediate route. Like, what is happening? What are the Bengals doing here?
Well, the Bengals are one thing, but the problem here is you got a free rusher pretty much in the face of the quarterback, so he's going to take the shallow route anyway.
So that you can't see the free rusher is what you're telling me.
You can't see it, but yeah, it's not a good place to be when you're a Cleveland quarterback.
When you're Jameis Winston, got it. You can go to the next one. You were just talking about him like missing the guy on the vertical route and then missing the other crosser. I'm like, all these guys are open. Like, so yeah. Did they win that game? Yeah. I hope they won that
game. I don't think they did. They didn't win a lot of games, Joe. It's Cleveland, for God's sakes.
Right.
You can't even flip a coin with those guys. You got to just turn like 5 of them over tails already and just count them as losses. All right. I'm sorry, funny. Cleveland. I love you, Cleveland. All right. Here we go. We're bringing one up right now. This is a stop curl.
So this is the Chargers playing the Chargers in this game?
No, this is Denver.
Oh, Denver. Gotcha.
And this is really good tape for Moore, because you remember how good the defensive front is for Denver, right? So with 4 guys rushing, the Chargers just have a great ability to sit back and zone because they got 4 guys who all believe they can get there. Really strong up front. So I mentioned earlier, you can create separation with speed, but you can also create separation with space, right? Or with technique. Mm-hmm. So on this particular play, Elijah Moore just drives. Now, let me bring it back. Sorry about that. So it's kind of a stop curl. And he just comes right back to the ball.
So he's top of the screen, second wide receiver.
He's at the bottom of the screen at about the 22-yard line. And what's the important thing is to see him stop. So he creates separation. Guys running with him. He stops. the DB takes another 3 yards to stop.
Yeah.
So I can't stop that fast. My freaking ligaments would blow out of my knee like rubber bands in a teenage boys freaking meeting, right? I mean, shooting all over the place. So I'd have 2 ACLs, MCLs, PCLs. It would be a mess, right? The stretcher would come out. So basically what I'm saying is the skill set here is such that he can drive a guy, stop in a very small place, turn his shoulders directly to the quarterback and make the catch.
Right.
And if you don't gain another yard after that, if there's no yak after that, so be it. He's got the pylon right now, or the sticks right now, which are at the 22-yard line. He's catching it at the 24.
Well, I mean, we've lived in that world with wide receivers, 22, 23, that weren't getting a lot of yards after catch, that were catching the ball and falling forward. And we won a lot of football games with that style of wide receiver. So
we did.
I mean,
but look,
yak is better, but yeah.
He's basically got blanket coverage right here. I stopped the clip right here, blanket coverage, but he stops. And look at he's got 1.5 yards of separation just by his ability to sit down, stop, and come back.
Right. Super good. Super good.
All right. This one is it's the middle one. You can't just rave about a player all the time as much as I love to, because they're my players. That's right. They are my players. So I found that this clip was a little bit lazy by Elijah here. I just don't think he didn't really have a belief that the ball was coming to him. So he's down here at about the 21-yard line at the bottom of the screen, and he's going to run a deep cross. And I just don't feel like he thinks that he's anywhere near the primary receiver on this play. And what I want you to notice is that if he drives off the ball, and it's soft coverage, right? So he's got about 7 yards between him and the DB, maybe even 8. If you don't drive into the DB before you make your break and you start bending early, those guys are such great athletes, they're just going to catch up. So I'm going to run the clip real quick, because he's here right at the slot on the line of scrimmage. He presses, but see how he starts bending the route already, and now he's kind of bananaing that thing off. That's just not going to work, okay? So right now he should be heading upfield into the chest of the cornerback, the inside cornerback that's on the 33-yard line.
Keeping his leverage.
He's got to make the cornerback believe he can go vertical here. He's probably not going to go out because there's an outside receiver. So if he can press that, and when he makes his cut right here, he has the ability to separate and stay closer to about the 38-yard line. But what he ends up doing is he rolls that thing all the way out to the 45, and that just becomes an impossible throw, right? So now the cornerback is draped all over him. He can take a chance. He can reach across. As long as he doesn't tuck that left arm around his back, he's not going to get PI, but that's a really hard throw to make. So I don't think he thought he was going to get the ball on this play, but my point is you have to expect you're going to get the ball at all times.
Yeah, and consequently on this play, nobody was open. So I think Jameson probably did exactly that. He probably forced it in there to what he felt was his best guy, right?
Sure. It's probably the least risky ball that Winston could have thrown here, right? Because there's nobody on the sideline. As long as he keeps it toward the sideline, it's not going to be a pick.
Right.
But really, you'd say the underneath defender might have a chance at it. But if he breaks this off earlier, he's going to be heading lateral toward that sideline. He'll have much better chance for the quarterback to throw a catchable ball to him. Gotcha.
Very cool. What's the next one?
The next one. Oh, I like these kind of plays, right? So, it's I'm a reasonably tough guy. No, it's not true. I'm a softie. Listen, I give all the credit in the world to wide receivers who are going to run through the middle of the field and risk decapitation. We're talking French Revolution quality decapitation moment here. The guy finds a spot, sits in the hole. I'm going to run it first. He's at the bottom of the screen. He runs in and almost just gets absolutely blowed up. Ball's a little bit late, but he slides into it. It's thrown low enough where he doesn't actually run the risk. But look at that linebacker just about to clean his clock. I mean, that to me, I'd be all Tyrannosaurus Rex arms right there. Probably, one hand on the Bible, the other hand on a picture of my deceased mother with a little bit of Hail Mary coming out of my mouth.
I appreciate the route, but I felt like he was a little bit lazy in his break. Like he felt like I don't know if he was supposed to round it off the way that he did, but it wasn't a super sharp cut. He almost gave it away. Right there.
He broke it off early, and this is the issue that I brought up a little bit earlier, but didn't expound upon. This look at this. It's a 4-man rush. There's a million defenders, right? The Broncos don't have to worry. They drop 7. It's going to be hard to find a spot. So I think what he's looking at right here is, he makes this cut. The smartest thing he can do is settle right here, which he more or less does. But there isn't a lot of space.
Right. The ball probably should have been there a little bit earlier as well, right on his break.
Yeah, exactly. But, Winston off the bench,
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't off the bench at that point. So I got one more clip. I just think, a lot of the things that he does, Elijah Moore. I'm sorry, I got 2 more. Oh, sorry. I do have one more clip. I loaded one twice. He does a lot of things with his brain. And when you play with a guy like Josh Allen in an offense designed by Joe Brady,
no, you didn't.
There are
savvy time. No. You get savvy time up there that you don't have. You need to scroll down on your thing.
Well, my point is, this is the next one up. So my point is this, basically. He's the right guy for Joe Brady and Josh Allen, I think. Right. There are a lot of things going on. You need a guy who's smart enough that's gonna find spots.
Yep.
All right. Last play. All right. I call this one savvy. It's not a big deal, but it's kind of a timing route. Basically, it's more or less a follow route. You've got 2 soft coverage guys, 8 yards off the ball, 7 yards off the ball. And all we're trying to do is get from a 1st and 10 or a 2nd and 10 into a manageable down and distance on the next play. So they're going to run a trail route here. So
which one is he, the inside
he's
guy?
The inside guy.
Yep.
And all he's going to do is just follow the outside receiver.
Judy.
Make sure, right? He's going to let Judy keep that outside DB from collapsing on him. And he finds himself into just a little spot right here, stop route, picks up 6 or 7 yards. But again, look at the defenders, right? The defender that's high has got Judy. So by Judy running him off, it's important that Elijah Moore slow plays this enough and then hits his slant or his in route in time and just finds a little hole right there between the linebackers and the corner and picks up good yardage.
And the ball's late.
If he's too wide on this, the corner picks him up. If he's too early, the linebacker picks him up.
Right. You're looking at some interesting. He had 61 receptions on 102 targets for 538 yards last season. And like we've seen a couple plays here where the ball's late and he's almost, in this play in particular, he's waiting for the ball and to get hit. He's waiting for both of those 2 things to happen to him versus that ball coming out on the 20-yard line when he first breaks his hips, right? When the ball should probably come out. Yeah. Interesting. So when
Joe,
yeah,
waiting to get hit is pretty much the definition of playing wide receiver in this league.
Yeah, but it's one thing when you're prepared to be hit. It's another thing when like you've got to catch a football and like the hit's coming, the hit's on its way. But so when you take into a oops, I just hit the wrong button. Sorry. That was me accidentally. Sorry about that. What are we getting in your final synopsis from the little bit of film that you watched of Elijah Moore? Are our expectations a little too high for this young guy coming in, clearly not living up to the 34th overall pick, what he was coming out of college, coming out of Ole Miss, which is a good school in a good conference? Or should there be some expectation there that this kid might be something worth our time, right? Maybe he's on a 1-year deal, $2.5 million guaranteed with $2.5 million more in incentives. Thoughts?
Yeah, look, my expectations are moderate because I don't think he's not going to beat Khalil Shakir out. I don't think he brings a skill set to compete against, Samuel and Josh Palmer for that role. But what the Bills get is a guy who can run a really nice stop curl route, a guy who has good body control, who's shown that he has very good hands.
Right.
I think he has a nose for getting upfield. Beyond that, they get a guy that's really hungry, right? Who's been stuck for 4 years in some miserable franchises. And now the opportunity to work with Josh Allen and Joe Brady and the creativity that comes out of this out of one Bills drive and gets applied on the field. And you know what else I love? He's got an exuberance about him. Unless it's fake, unless he's, a poseur, I really think that he's got a genuine love for being in a spot right now where he feels like he has 4 years of pent up, I'm being underutilized. And even last year where he had 61 receptions, his yard per catch went down because of the way he was utilized. So imagine a thoroughbred in the gates and they release him from the gates and they're like, oh, no, you're only running the 22-yard horse race. You're like, what? Wait, what? I got all dressed up for this?
I'm just stuck on the fact that you said poseur instead of poser. That's literally what you
I'm trying to bring you along, Joe. So I think it's number one.
If anybody wants to rewind the show, you'll see my eyes go up and to the right as I'm like, was he saying poser?
Great value, great hunger and exuberance with a guy who's got the body type, the ability to fit into a system that is going to, I guess, exploit or champion what he can do in the moments where we need it most.
Very cool. I heard that you're going to be in Buffalo this weekend, John Fina.
I am. And in fact, on Saturday, Joe, I am going to MafiaCon at Seneca Tower. Are you going?
Too. I'm going too.
Holy cow. Do you want to get breakfast before?
That'd be amazing. We could go to the Poked Yolk.
So I got to drive all the way down to you. Just drive all the way back.
There's one in West Seneca. We go to the one in West Seneca. Oh, there's none near downtown. Near the
like that's closer.
It is actually closer from where you're going to be, but but it's a little out of the way. We could, there's also Larkin Square. There's the diner in Larkin Square we could go to. But yeah, there's a number of places. As we're making plans
to figure that out.
As we're making plans, go ahead.
Maybe we go to Ted's and pick up Sahlen's
for breakfast.
That's for breakfast. A breakfast dog.
A breakfast dog. Does that exist? If it doesn't, maybe it should.
I'm gonna have to get into the lab, Joe. Get me working on a Sahlen's breakfast dog.
Listen to us making plans live on the air. Anyways, good stuff, John Fina, as always. Excited about Elijah Moore. It wasn't a signing that I was necessarily. It had a very meh feeling, as does Josh Palmer for me. Just not super sure what we're getting from it, but I'm looking forward to Elijah Moore, and I hope to be surprised by Josh Palmer, in my opinion. But clearly, he's got some guys in front of him. They both do in Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, and Curtis Samuel, who I thought played pretty well last year, and Dalton Kincaid, right? And then you've got Old Faithful in Dawson Knox. So I don't think our season is going to make or break based on the production that we're going to get from Elijah Moore, but somebody's going to have to pick up the slack on that Mac Hollins being gone, because Mac Hollins turned into a pretty good player as the season progressed last year. Any final thoughts before I get us out of here?
No, man, I really think that the pieces of the puzzle are in place. I think a lot of what's going to come down to is continuing, the creativity, with Joe Brady and Josh Allen, understanding who they are and get the people to do things that are within their scope. And as always, got to stay healthy. Big, strong Dalton Kincaid, recovered Keon Coleman, and then 3 other guys, Samuel, Shakir, and Palmer, in addition to Elijah Moore. I mean, just being extremely ready to go and durable. And we got a great shot.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Sahlen's Off Tackle with John Fina show on the Overreaction Sports Network, powered by the Believe Sports Network. My name is Joe Miller. That there is John Fina. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay tuned next week. Do you want to do Joshua Palmer next week?
Let me give it a think.
You'll give it. Oh wait, you're going to be in Buffalo next week on Monday, won't you? So we're going to have to figure that out. But yeah, we'll come back to you with some film review next week, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. We'll tease it a little bit. But for me, for John, for Jerry, for all of us here at Overreaction, go Bills.
Don't wish your summer away. Go out and get a Sahlen's hot dog and enjoy that summer. And go Bills.
See you guys Saturday. Go Bills.